The night's long shadows have dragged you through time and across worlds to kneel here before my worm-eaten throne. I offer you now this one chance to walk away with your lives and your souls intact. Please, tell me our story.
Life makes killers of us all, whether through the choices we make or through the long knotted strings of cause and effect, or simply because we did not act when we could have, when we should have. In all of our hearts lies the shadow of a killer. And our hearts are so noisy, beating furiously against our chests to be heard, full of such a deep longing for answers that we will never get, and conflicted over every impossible choice that we will have to make. How in our hearts are we so capable of incredible love in one moment, and in the next we can only feel darkness, pain, and hate for those who have wronged us? If we choose to walk a road of redemption, how can we hope for a better life or to be better people when in every moment our hearts are held back by the heavy weight of our own guilt? And if we instead choose a path of vengeance, if we spend our lives hunting down our devils, what happens when we finally find them? How long does it take to wash the blood of our enemies from our shaking hands? How long is a life spent with 1 foot on the road to redemption and 1 foot on the road to revenge? And still, no matter what road we take, life makes killers of us all. In our last episode, our characters found themselves having traveled through a shadow world, through time and space. Together, they faced a vicious, corrupted red dragon, and they proved their power. They slayed the dragon, and so they became companions. Together, they traveled through a skeletal forest, defended each other from bandits, and they shared their first meal and their first campfire together. Sabria Sunishal, the warrior priestess on a mission from her god to kill the king priest of Istar, she stepped forward. When Sabria volunteered herself to take command of the party, her leadership was questioned by none of the others, at least not out loud. The next morning, they arrived at a crossroads and a hangman's tree. From the tree, 3 dead men were hung, their bodies swaying gently in the breeze, each painted with a different dying sin on their chest. They were marked thief, lecher, and heretic. And on a wooden signpost nailed to the tree, Sir Reardon learned where each of the roads before them led, and realized that they must be in a place called the Grove, a thick forest in the heart of a realm called Nightlund. Sir Reardon warned the others that Nightlund was ruled by a pretender, Lord Loren Soth, and as he spoke the Knight of the Black Rose's name, the wind and the trees and the earth heard his bitter words, and so did the Lord of Nightlund. 4 great vines sprung from the ground, stretching up to the height of some of the trees and blooming large black roses. The enchantment tried to infect each of the companions with its corruption, but they stayed strong, resisting the worst of the vine's strange sorcery. All except for one of them, Averin. You stand before the crossroad and the hangman's tree. Black roses whisper to you inside your mind, the tendrils of their magic worming deep into your most walled-off memories. They writhe and they bite and they invade you with their alien magic, and you feel a desperate need to expel their poison from you by lifting your voice up to song.
On one evening, on a false pretense, I visited my one true friend. We sat and talked, and I made her tea. All to execute my dirty deed. I had slipped in a sleeping draught, a signature of my handicraft, for I'd been tasked by my father above to take care of the sister I loved. And the snake crawled in, the snake crawled out, the snake moved forward without a doubt. The snake did smile and didn't cry. The snake must cause the flower to die. My trusting friend fell fast asleep. Took my all to try not to weep. Instead, I took her to the bed. I gently kissed her soft forehead, and as she slept so peacefully, I took a dagger and killed Louis. And the snake crawled in, the snake crawled out, the snake struck forward without a shout. The deed was done, I began to cry. I mourned the sister I caused to die. I told my father I'd done her in, and all he gave me was a grin. He then told me it was just a test to see if I could leave the guild and the rest. And the snake crawled in, the snake crawled out. A row between us then did break out. I slashed at him, gave up the fight, denied the serpent fled into night. Still years have passed, I tried for revenge, only to be stopped by my friend. She had survived by father's side. Now I must choose if I live or die.
You sing your song, and with your honesty, you feel this poison in your heart released. This is the most free that you've felt. The most free you've felt since you saw Learly. But you feel your body numb, your heart beating in your chest. You feel alive. You can smell the air, but you're not able to move. The rest of you, you stood there with Averin singing her song of Learly and her father. And you were not able to move either. Though you resisted the enchantment, for a moment you were stunned. You watched this song be sung. And you see something else too, even as your fingers begin to move, your toes begin to shift, you feel movement returning to your bodies. Those 4 great vines have slowly begun to pull down and writhe and worm around Averin. And Averin, as you are able to move again, they are already beginning to wrap themselves around you, all 4 of the vines. You have a moment to try to do something. Averin first, and then the others.
Out of instinct, I am going to try to move out of there. Just slip through something.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw. You jump and stretch, tumbling, able to pull yourself away from 2 of the vines. They break in front of you and then begin to rise up again. 2 of the vines do wrap around you, though, one around your waist and one around your right arm. And you feel their thorns pressing into your body. You are currently restrained by 2 of these vines. And so at this point, the rest of the party, our companions, you may notice that Honoria is no longer there. She has slipped away. And you have a moment now to act.
Are we in initiative, or can we do whatever we'd like?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to take a movement against the vines, if you're going to try to get her out, then let's go ahead and everyone roll me initiative.
Oh, yeah. $12 for Siriadan.
And Kiana, go ahead and roll me initiative for Averin as well.
Already done. I got a 20 for nothing.
13 for the Sun Priestess.
6.
So-
Keep going.
As you get feeling back over your body and you can see these vines wrapping around Averin, fighting against them, it's Averin that will be first in the initiative, and you are currently restrained. I will allow you to make a dexterity saving throw to try to break free. You are unable to break free. These vines seem to be constricting tighter and tighter around you, the thorns pressing further into your body. There's a strange sensation. You hear as you feel blood begin to trickle down your arm and your side. Sabria, you act next.
I bring my hands together, my eyes closed. I utter a word of prayer almost silently, and my hands flash out, and from somewhere in the sky above, sacred flame descends upon the vines.
So there's 4 different vines, and 2 of them are currently restraining Averin. Which one are you aiming for?
I am aiming for one of the vines that is restraining my dark friend.
13?
Does not save.
So your fire, how does it burn? How are you trying to approach this vine?
It is a flame that is bright, like metal that's burning, and descends from somewhere above Averyn to strike the vine near where it's punctured her.
And as it burns, that fire fades after a moment, but you do hear a hiss as some of the plant matter on the outside begins to melt away. Sabria, make me an Arcana check. Not a saving throw, but a check.
9.
Nothing feels out of the ordinary. Sir Reardon, the vines still have Averin. What do you do?
Reardon will pull forth Absolution, which actually was already in his hand at the end of the narrative of last episode. And as he runs forward, he is going to just bring it to bear on the one that's restraining her arm. And he's going to launch his first attack at it. And as he's screaming, Averin! As he attempts to cleave it. 21.
That's a hit.
And I get to re-roll that 1, so it'll be 10 plus 2, so that'll be 12. 12 points of slashing. How's that strike it?
As you slice into it, the vine cuts. Your blade runs through it. Much easier than the fire seemed to burn it. And that vine snaps at the force of your blade. It begins to grow, the base of it, the part of it that's reaching up from the earth, and continues to grow. But you have freed Averin from that vine as it fails its Constitution saving throw.
And she's still grappled by the ankle, correct? Ankle and arm?
It's around her torso.
He's gonna, with his second attack, he spins Absolution around, and with a great arcing blow, he brings it down again on the one around her waist. 9.
This time, the vine snaps away from you, curves around your blade, almost as though it's aware of your presence there, and you feel only air as your blade comes across.
We've had our long rest, though, have we not?
We have.
Then why keep something in pocket when it could be put into practice? Action surge as I will attack again on the same vine. A natural 1. Everything coming around to roost.
As you bring your blade up, preparing to strike again, one of those vines that did not capture Averin, one of the ones she slipped away from, first comes for you as you interfere directly. 14 will be a miss for you. So even though your blow swings in, comes in, and does not connect, you do manage to knock away the incoming attack from this third vine.
Okay, as he kicks the one vine away with his foot, I'm going to use an inspiration to get advantage on this last hit to free his friend as he brings the greatsword around again. 15?
That will be a hit.
And a 15 damage.
And again, just like before, you cut through the vine, and it's not dead, it's still moving, it's already starting to regrow, but you cut it at such a point that it does free Averin from its grasp. And Averin, you are no longer restrained.
With the rest of his movement, he is going to pull back in front of Averin, placing himself between the vines and his roguish friend. As if she will allow, he's going to begin to back them both away from these things with any movement I have left.
You were all very close together, so you were able to do so very easily. But the vines are long and they do stretch from the ground, and they are already beginning to reach for you. They seem now, roll me a perception check. And Averin, I'll let you do this too, since you're here with him.
19.
You'll both notice this with a 22 and a 19. It's strange. Only one side of these vines has the black roses. They're not all around them, and those roses seem to turn towards you as you move. It's almost like eyes. Those eyes, those roses watching you as you shift away, the stalk of the vines twisting and writhing.
Reardon will look over his shoulder as he backs away with Absolution up. And Averyn, he'll meet your gaze if you're staring in that direction. Shoot the black roses. What do you think?
I don't think you need to tell me twice.
I shan't.
And is that the end of your turn?
It is, yeah.
Okay. 2 of these vines are going to attack Sir Reardon, and 2 of them are going to attack Averyn. Sir Reardon first. I'm guessing a 21 will hit.
It shall, my friend. A 21 will hit me.
So that's 14 bludgeon damage, and I need you to make me a strength saving throw.
Strength saving throw. 14.
That is just enough for you to fight the vines off, even as it cracks into you in your armor and almost knocks you to your knees. You are able to keep it from wrapping around you, to push it off of you. Then 2 come for Averyn. A 23 and a 17.
Both of those hit.
That'll be 2 strength saving throws and 28 bludgeon damage.
Wait.
You have a thing?
Yeah, can I sentinel her? Because she's right beside me. Can I make that attack as it's coming in?
Let's see here. I'll definitely let you do it for one of them with your reaction.
Yeah, it's just my reaction.
Yep. Yeah, so you can go ahead and try to stop one of them.
Wait a minute. I haven't used sentinel in so very long.
Let's see, because I always get confused with polearm because I always use them in combo.
Makes an attack on a target other than me. I can use my reaction to make a melee weapon attack against the attacking creature. So I don't know in what order that would go, brother, but he's going to, for one of those things, he's going to try to cleave it before it gets to Averin, if that's at all possible.
Does it say reduces its speed to 0?
It does, yes.
Then go ahead and make your attack and see if you can stop one of these from reaching Averyn.
I'm going to use an inspiration here, can I, to get advantage on the attack?
Absolutely.
18.
That will be a hit. Go ahead and roll that damage.
I get to re-roll both of these for a 6 and a 6. A 6 and a 6. That's a 16. Ah!
Amazing reroll.
Come on!
Double snake eyes to double 6s. This vine begins to wrap around you, stretching towards Averin behind you, and you bring your blade down overhead, and again, you cut straight through the vine. It's very effective. The vine's starting to grow back, but slower than the others. Averin, you will only take 14 bludgeon damage, but I still need you to make me a strength saving throw.
Yeah, I did roll those before.
Oh, okay. Let me scroll up here.
That was a 9.
Not so good.
No.
And as it slams into you and knocks you to the ground, it wraps around your torso and pins your arms to your chest. And you again feel those thorns begin to push into your body. At that point, it's Rookon's turn.
Am I privy to the conversation or the realization about the black rose bloom?
You're only about 10 feet away, so you can easily hear anything anyone said.
All right. I'm going to, while they're battling with the vines, pull out Hasgranath's scimitar and use the advantage on that for the first time to make an attack on the black rose bush.
And so there's 4 vines. Which vine are you attacking?
So you can't attack like the congregation of black roses, like the eye stalks?
You can, yeah, but there's 4 different vines, and they each have their own series of roses running up and down them. One of them currently has Averin wrapped in its coils, and the other 3 are injured but writhing, growing.
The one that's wrapped up in Averin at the moment.
All right. And with Sir Reardon on the other side, you will have flanking and advantage on this attack.
Oh, then I won't use the special ability of the scimitar.
Mhm. That is certainly a hit.
Awesome. All right, so here's some sneak attack damage for you.
That's a total of 10 slashing damage. And though you cut through it, and again, with your slashing attack, it's particularly effective against these things. You don't entirely cleave this vine in half, and it's already starting to reattach the wound, the cut that you've made in it, and it does not lose its grip on Averin.
Okay. Can I use my might and use my shield master feat as a bonus action to try to shove it away from the rest of the tree?
Absolutely, yeah. To shove it away from the other 3 vines. Go for it. Does that deal any damage?
No,
Or
it
is
just moves.
So are you trying to shove it so that you position yourself between it and the other 3 vines?
The concept here was to try to move it away from the tree forcibly, so it's no longer connected to the tree. But if that can't happen, then I want to move it in a place where it's more likely to attack me than it is Averyn.
And you're able to do that. It's coming out of the ground. These vines have shot out of the earth. And so you're able to push it away from the other 3 and position yourself between it and the rest of your allies, but it still has Averin in its grasp, and it's raised her up off the ground about 5 feet. Is that the end of your turn?
Yes.
Averin, it's your turn.
Am I restrained again?
You are restrained. You can use your action to try to break free.
I would like to do that. I'm going to spend an inspiration.
I think it's probably a good idea.
What type of saving throw again?
Dexterity. With a 21, you are able to pull yourself tight to make yourself small, and even as it's constricting around you, you fall out of it and to your feet. That does leave you with a bonus action and with your movement action still.
I'm going to disengage and get the fuck out.
How far are you running? You're all before this hangman's tree.
Yeah, I'm just going to use my full movement to just try to move away from this.
You're able to get 30 feet easily with the disengage. Even with the disengage, because of the reach of these things, one of them will still get an attack of opportunity against you. But because Rook Own pushed you away, the other 3 will not.
As it begins to lash back out toward her, Sabria, who has already drawn both of her scimitars, crosses them in front of her and casts a warding flare. I'm hoping that this is a creature that can be blinded.
It absolutely can be.
Yes, so there is no save, and that imposes immediate disadvantage on the attack.
Fantastic. And go ahead and roll me a perception check as well, Sabria.
Natural 20.
It's strange. Every time anyone else has interrupted, you've seen these eyes turn towards them, these roses, they take notice. They begin to take action against those interrupting them. Even when you act and you blind this plant creature as it's coming for Averin, it doesn't seem to turn towards you or even realize that you're there. You're pretty sure that it hasn't seen you.
A sly grin crosses my face.
And with disadvantage, does a 12 hit Averin?
A 12 does not.
So it slams down right behind you. You can feel the mud splash up into the back of your hair and to the side of your face, but you are able to get away and get out of its reach. Is that the end of your turn? All right. Sabria, now it's your turn.
I think perhaps it would be wise to withdraw, Sir Knight. And I begin to back away toward Averyn so that I'm out of range as well.
And even though you have to move through the path of a couple of these vines, they don't seem to turn towards you or attack you. You are able to move freely.
I will impose myself between the vines and Averyn and continue to usher the others back. Rukon, withdraw.
All right. Anything else you want to do with your turn?
That's all for now.
Okay. Sir Reardon.
Rukon is right next to these vines, correct? With his push maneuver, he's engaged.
He's engaged one of them. Two of them are engaged with you, and the final of them seems to be turning its roses between you and Rukon now, almost as though it's deciding who it's going to strike out at.
The measure says, retreat is honorable if you are the last to quit the field.
And so he will yell out, Rukon, fall back! And he will attack the vine that is on Rukon to free him from, with one of his attacks, his first attack anyway.
All right.
Not one.
Your blade comes in, and roll me an athletics. No, roll me a dexterity saving throw.
I get something with this because I see it coming, correct?
You see just a moment before you reach the vine as you're preparing to strike. One of the other vines has come low. It's snaked around, and it's moved right in front of your leg as though to trip you up. You are able to step over it and to push off of it, but even though you don't go down, your blow, your strike still swings wide and misses.
He hops over the snare that was set, and he fires his last attack at the one holding Rukon, or engaged with Rukon.
24.
That'll hit.
9, re-roll the 1, with 3, 7, 11. Slashing.
You cut straight through this vine, hitting the same point on the back end that Rukon had hit previously, and this time it breaks and snaps, and the vine goes down to the ground, and it no longer grows. Instead, the earth cracks open underneath of it. The mud pulls away, and you can feel something shake beneath your feet as the earth retakes this plant matter.
He'll just hold position. He is not moving back.
And with your current position, as you turn Rukon on the other side of your shoulder, the 3 remaining vines will come for you, Sir Reardon. Do you have something else you want to do?
I wouldn't have nat won that. It would have been I would have hit because it was advantage. He was on the other side for flanking. My fault. I didn't remember it. I didn't remember it.
That's true.
Yep.
That's okay. That's okay. You still got it. I'll let you go ahead and swing at this first vine that's coming towards you to see if you can hit it. That'll be my negotiation.
You don't have to. I missed it, man. It's my fault. I got to keep track of my own stuff. But I'll. You're being benevolent, so I will listen to you.
Take a swing.
14.
All right, roll that damage.
12 slashing.
And you cut through this one, stopping it from being able to reach you. With a 13, I think it misses. And again, you hack it through, and the vine falls into two pieces. This one's regrowing, but very, very slowly. It looks very vulnerable at the moment. The other two slam down towards you.
As they do, my scimitars cross again, and a flash of light blares out toward them.
Take the second one.
Are they both affected by the blindness?
That's a great question.
Focus on that second one. He looks salty.
It's any single creature that is attacking that can be blinded.
Okay. So we'll say those first two rolls are the one that's blinded, and therefore it has a 9, which misses. And again, some of those flowers, as this light flashes, they wilt and they turn from black to brown. They actually lighten in color, and they begin to drift down those petals to the forest floor. The second vine comes in. A 9 also misses. It slams right next to Reardon.
So it missed me.
That's correct.
With a grand riposte, I will give it an attempted backslash. 21?
That is a hit.
And I'll re-roll this to a 6. 14 slashing.
So as it slams down next to you into the dirt, you bring your blade down and you hew it in half. And this time, just like before, it no longer grows. In fact, the mud cracks open and swallows what's left of the vine back into the dirt.
Can you give me a free action? It's not my round, but I'm gonna.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's gonna stare directly at the roses as they begin to wilt and.
Tell your master a friend is coming.
Rookone, it's your turn.
So I'll start with using a free action to say, "What were you saying about falling back?" And then I'm going to approach, shield in hand, high above my head, balancing my scimitar in the left hand, in my right hand, and clearing away using my reckless attack, feigning, clearing my shield, and then throwing all of my weight into a cut at the root of the final vine.
And there are 2 left, but you can go for one of the 2. They're both pretty cut up and injured. They're regrowing, but slowly.
The first and weakest final vine. All right.
Go for it.
Yep. Advantage.
Did you say you're using inspiration?
No inspiration. My reckless attack.
Okay.
All right. Does a 24 hit?
A 24 does hit.
Okay. 13 total damage.
And again, your slashing attack is very effective against this creature, and you catch it even as it's regrowing, beat it into the earth with your blade, and both pieces of it that have been hacked in half are swallowed back into the earth and are gone. Oh, you have more?
I can't do much else, but I'll use my cunning action as a bonus action to move near Reardon and give him some cover with my shield.
All right. Averin, it's your turn.
Do a quick look back, kind of see what's happening here. I'm going to take out my bow and arrow and just try to shoot out one of these in the rose.
There's only one snaking vine left, but it is starting to rise, and it looks like it's stretching towards Sir Reardon, Rookone. It's hard to tell which. Go ahead and take your shot.
11.
It goes wide and thunks into the hangman's tree.
Are there any trees nearby?
There's the hangman's tree.
Nope, not that one.
There's lots of trees. You are in the forest, so like you don't have to go far.
I'm just gonna casually use my bonus action to hide.
All right. Sabria, it's your turn.
Gentlemen, I said withdraw, and I'm stepping up just closely enough to cover with another flare should it be necessary. But I've made clear by my tone of voice that it should not be necessary. And I'm going to hold my action here.
And what's the trigger? Are you just waiting to flare if you need to?
If they are, if either one of them is seized, I'll rush in with a melee attack. But prior to that, I'll just hold the flare as a reaction.
All right. Sir Reardon, it's your turn.
Reardon will look over his right shoulder to Rookone and smile, and he'll say, You must retreat, my friend. It's time to fall back. And he will attack twice. Nine.
That
And-
one will be a miss.
17.
So as the first swing comes in again, it goes underneath and around, and it looks like it's about to wrap around you to whip towards you when your second strike comes up and catches it.
11
Okay.
slashing with the uppercut.
And you knock it away from you. Again, you hack mostly through it, and it falls down lifelessly to the forest floor. And as it does, again, the mud breaks away and the earth swallows the vine, and then there are none.
He will then, since I have movement and bonus, he'll look over at Rookone.
Shall we back up a step or two?
Now seems like a great moment to fall back.
These words you say together, I don't understand them very well, but maybe a step to the behind us. Just let me just that.
He'll take a very small step back. This is a joke to Reardon. It shouldn't be. It's beneath him. It's a joke to Reardon, and he's having fun with Rookone, not at his expense, but as a comrade.
Rookone cracks a smile and looks over as like, we might have had to had that been more challenging.
It was a terrible plant.
But overall, I'm glad we followed orders. And then he chuckles.
Falling back!
I sheathe both of my scimitars, and as they slam home, how fortunate for us that we have two such proficient gardeners in the party. Enough pruning of the Verds today, though, I think, gentlemen. Sir Knight, you seem to have some idea of where we were, I believe.
Yes, we are in a God's forsaken land, Nightland. I told you the name. Would you like to hear it again?
I shake my head. A friend of yours, you said.
In a manner of speaking. Someone that requires a future meeting upon a field. Call it a picnic, if you will. I shall enjoy it the same.
Well, he has already sent flowers, so it would be the least you could do to respond, I would think.
One would think.
Averyn hasn't come out from her hiding spot.
Rukon looks around. Where's the child?
Lady Averin! Lady Averin!
And yeah, he's not put away absolution yet. He begins to stalk around the perimeter looking.
Likewise.
Is she trying to actively hide?
Not really. If you kind of just get onto the other side of the trees, you'll see her get her back kind of up against the tree, curled up, head down, and you'll see that her hood in the chaos had fallen off, and you see two slightly pointed ears, which hint to some non-human heritage.
Averin, come. It's safe now. The vines are done.
She is not scared.
Then what is she?
Did you not hear her song?
I did.
Reardon will step forward and place absolution back in its shoulder scabbard. And he will not offer hand in the way that would be befitting of taking a child from tree. He will offer forearm the way that you would pull a comrade from low position to high or high to low.
Will you join us, friend?
You would want me around.
Of course. I heard your song.
It was quite lovely. Nobody sings like that where I'm from.
And I step up to the circle now. It was lovely. And nothing that hasn't already been forgiven. At least, that's what I believe.
Easy to say.
Yes, it is. But it doesn't make it any less meaningful.
It's quiet now. For a moment, you think it's going to rain. There's a light mist, but it stops. The breeze continues to blow. The dead men continue to sway. And the tree before you, 4 roads before you.
I am lost. I do not know this place. What happens next?
I know enough. Where's the wizard?
Rukon raises his eyebrows for the first moment, realizing that she's gone. How did she leave without me? I didn't even notice.
She disappeared when the roses bloomed. But I do not doubt we will see her again.
Ah, the optimism of leaders.
Faith, Sir Reardon.
Ah, yes. Faith.
Well, the failure of faith was the strength of steel as the battle was met a few moments ago. I can't imagine that any one force is going to get us through this land or back to our homes, our missions. Some power brought us together.
My father.
Your father, Averyn.
I said I had a hunch. As to how we got here. My father. The man that you saw. The man that you know as Hawk.
Your father? Of the retinue of the King Priest?
What magics is he using to do such things?
Nothing I've ever seen him do before. His plans, though.
Plans? What plans?
I don't know.
You're his daughter. Surely you could have picked up something.
Man of mysteries. Better to keep your tools in the dark. I can't question you.
I haven't seen much, but you can definitely count this amongst those things. There are stories that are told around the campfires, and this has not breached one of them.
All I know is that I'm here because he wanted me back. After everything.
Is this his way of, like a bird, putting you in a cage for his amusement?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you wish to go back to him?
Only if I can finish what I never got to finish.
Ah, then it is settled. We both have picnics to attend, Lady Averin.
Sabria looks as if she's about to say something, but then thinks better of it.
Cages, like you are kept in now, are like coffins for the living. Let us find a way to free you. Do you have anything we can go on?
I know at some point I'm supposed to meet somebody in the forest, not here. By a town, I think. I don't know. It's within that mirror room thing. Other than that, I have no fucking idea what this place is.
One and the same.
Averin, roll me an insight check. You remember staring into that mirror and what you saw there. You remember speaking to Learly in the forest in the dark. You remember a town in the distance. You remember those small child's smiles in the shadows as they chased you through the woods. You remember Learly's screams as you ran past her and left her behind. You remember the whispering of the wind as it whistled around the trees and past you, through you. They didn't seem to say anything then, the trees, the wind. But now you hear a faint whistling again through the trees, through the woods, and you hear what sounds like the words, Harthalen.
Do you hear that?
Hear what?
I hear the wind, Averyn.
As do I.
The wind speaks. Harthalen? That sound like something you guys know?
Does it sound like something that I would know? Mysterious dungeon master.
On the hangman's tree, 2 crossed signposts, and you read them before. You read them again now. They read north to Calaman, which is a rather large city. It's very familiar to anyone who's lived in Solamnia or knows Solamnia. East to Iron Vale, a series of mines where there are conflicting rumors as to whether or not the iron that the dwarves and the humans mine there is blessed or cursed. West to Malmene, which is a place, a location that you've never heard of. None of you have ever heard of it. And south to Harthalen, which is another location that none of you have ever heard of.
The wind is telling you to travel in this direction.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, when a force you don't understand whispers something to you, do you abide or you defy?
Last time something whispered in my head was just moments ago, and it made me reveal things that I have kept secret for about 3 years at this point. So I don't know how I feel about this.
Well, think of it this way, Averyn. You're now free of those secrets. They can't weigh you down any longer. Perhaps one of these voices that you can't understand, with a look at Rukon, is a voice of a god, rewarding you for your confession or for your faith and forgiveness. Regardless, it's the only sign we have. I'm inclined to trust it.
Sabria and Sir Reardon, I will let you, since you succeeded on your history checks, your geography checks last week. If you have general questions about the area or anything regarding basic geography in relation to where you are, I'm happy to answer them for you.
I'm glad that you ask, fair mysterious dungeon master. Does it appear as if to the east, the far east, there's a mountain range or three that Sir Reardon wouldn't remember, but perhaps Sabria and Lady Averin would?
So I don't know if Sabria or Averin have been this far west in their time, but you would know that where you are in Nightland in the Grove, that to the east are the Dargard Mountains. And if you were to travel north to Kalamon, you would pass very close to the northern tip of the Dargard mountain range, which is where Dargard Keep lies. Much further east, much further east, would be what Sabria and Averin know as Istar, and you would know as the Blood Sea.
That's my question. Are we at a distance so great that there would be the mountain ranges that used to separate east from west? Are they standing, or are they gone?
You have not seen them.
He'll keep that to himself.
I'm no tactician, Sir Knight, but I think we've perhaps lingered here long enough. Your friend seems to have some awareness of our location. Perhaps it would be best to move in almost any direction.
Yes. Yes, I agree. But first, and he walks over to the hangman's tree, are there ties where these people were hoisted from ground level? Like countersinks and anchors?
That's exactly right. Yeah, they wrap around some of the larger branches and then are staked into the ground.
He cuts them free.
Their bodies fall and plop to the ground with a sickening thud. You can hear brittle bones break, but they are free.
My dear leader, if these thieves and lechers and whatnot broke rules in the land of a pretender, then I would see them have words said over them. Do you have any?
I do. This land is strange to me, though, Sir Knight. My practice after the words would be to set the corpses aflame that the spirits could rise free to Sirion. But I do not know if that would be an honor to these men.
If they are your words, then it is your axe that we will use. I can think of nothing better in this dark place than to add a little light.
With that, a smile. Sabria nods and walks to the nearest of the bodies. She reaches out to place a hand on it, despite its the grotesqueness of its form. As I do, may I make a perception check to see if I notice anything unusual?
Absolutely. There are 3 bodies, one of them marked heretic, one of them marked lecher, one of them marked thief. Does she pick one in particular?
The one that's marked thief first. I'd like to with all three if I have the opportunity.
So let's do Thief, Lecher, and Heretic, and I'll let you roll twice.
There we are.
You've seen executions like this before. It's actually not that dissimilar from how Istar was going in your time, where people who broke the law or were considered evil were openly executed mercilessly, efficiently in your time. You don't see anything strange until you get to the Heretic, and it's then that you notice in his right hand, his fingers, despite him being dead, despite his body being broken, are tightly clenched together, that rigor mortis has pulled his fingertips to his palm, and that palm is still in a fist.
I take that fist in both of my hands and try to open it.
Make me a sleight of hand check.
7.
You're able to do so, but you have to break off 2 of the fingers in the process. But you are able to get that hand open from this old, badly decayed body. The smell of it, even as long as it's been dead, is still hard to bear for as long as it takes you. But what you find within is a small idol. It's just a few inches tall. And upon observing it, it's been meticulously painted. Details actually pretty extraordinary for something this small. And it depicts a man wearing white robes with golden overlays, intricate, long brown flowing hair, and the eyes that are just painted with 2 carefully placed dots are a pale blue.
Is it any figure that I recognize?
You recognize it immediately. You would know this figure anywhere. This is King Priest Beldinus Polyphero.
What do I believe that the idol is made of?
Maybe resin, some sort of plaster, some sort of standard material. Doesn't look expensive. You could crush it. You could easily destroy it.
As I move among the 3 of them, I kneel and I place my hand in the center of each man's chest. And after just a few seconds, my hand begins to flare into fire, with the intent of the fire taking each of the bodies. As I do for the one marked Heretic, I take that idol in the palm of my hand and press it between the dead man's chest and my hand and incinerate it along with his corpse.
It burns easier than his corpse. There's nothing spectacular about the idol.
I rise, and as the smoke begins to rise from the 3 bodies, I say to Sir Reardon, "Strange. I thought it was only in Istar that we were burning heretics or hanging heretics. Apparently the practice has spread somewhat."
Depending upon when we are, fair leader, I believe that my friend and the great city of Istar are cut from the same cloth.
Sabria only sighs. Her eyes wander for a second and then back to Reardon's. "This tree is your friend's tree, you say?"
It appears to be one of his favorite.
Sabria's feet plant into the ground about shoulder width apart. Her hands come up before her, and she casts Fireball on the hangman's tree and blasts it into a pile of ash and embers.
And though it is wide and though it is large, a magnificent, if ghoulish tree, it is just a tree. And I want Sabria to roll me an Arcana check.
I'm going to use an inspiration here for advantage.
All right.
For what little it was worth.
Nothing feels out of the ordinary. You channel your god and you unleash justice, retribution, righteous fire onto the tree. It burns, but it's a controlled burn. And as it begins to collapse in on itself, wood crackling and turning into itself, the fire goes out and the tree is just embers, branches, ash, a smolder.
She looks to Reardon. Oops.
Sir Reardon, though it is beneath him, will allow a very youthful giggle to slip between his beard. Yes. Oops. And he looks at the other two.
Well, if our intention was to raise attention to ourselves, then it seems it will be only a matter of time until that is done so. We should not be here.
Fair, benevolent dungeon master, you said a storm was fast approaching, correct? That we are at least seeing something?
It's not. Yeah, it seemed like it started to rain and then it kind of faded away. Right now, it's just the wind. It is overcast outside, and I will tell you that without making you roll a perception check, that the day seems to be passing faster than you expected it to. You're already past noon, and it shouldn't be past noon.
Did the night seem especially long?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you arrived in the night, so it's hard to say exactly.
See how quickly things are happening. This is why we need a wizard. Think about these things. Oh well, which direction? Forward for a picnic? And he looks at Lady Averin. Or... And he turns north towards his picnic. Or, I'm sorry, west toward, or east towards, where he knows Vingard Keep to lie, correct?
It's north. North is the keep, and beyond that, Kalaman. East is Iron Vale, the mountains.
Oh, right. So yeah, he would turn north and look north, but then he would defer to the rest of the group.
It is of no consequence to me in which way we travel. Tonight, I aim to die at every pass.
I do not.
Your aim is poor, Rakan.
Consider me lucky, I suppose, or unlucky, depending on which way you would like to look at it.
Averyn, I think I would have some interest in meeting your father.
Not a pleasant man to meet on any given occasion.
And yet the annals say that the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
And we'll just kind of turn towards the direction southwards. And again, stay along the edge. Just start walking.
Do you all head south towards Harthalen?
Of course.
Yes.
Time passes, and you move through the woods. The rain comes and the rain goes. It's very rarely that you see the sun, and it's very early that you see the evening come. Twilight hangs like a purple and red shadow as you travel southward, and it lasts much, much longer than it should. Not a half an hour or an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. By the time the sun is finally setting entirely and darkness begins to take you, twilight has lasted as long as daytime lasted, and you've been traveling all day without crossing path with another human being or anything of particular note. But it is shortly before nightfall that I'll ask you to all make me your choice of nature or perception checks.
$14.
Rukon has a 22.
With a 22, Roko. Oh, 15 for Reardon.
15, yes.
What did Averin get?
An 8.
Okay. Then Rokon with a 22. Before the twilight entirely fades, while there's still a little bit of extra light, even though it's strange and eerie, you spy just off the side of the road fresh tracks, or at least they seem like they're relatively fresh tracks. The first time you've seen them all day, and they seem to be heading, if you were to stretch your eyes and look, to a small clearing just 100 yards through the woods or so.
Halt. Fresh tracks. We must be near civilization. These tracks lead to a clearing.
And I'll tell you, with a 22, which is particularly good, I'll also tell you that they seem humanoid and small.
They seem small and humanoid.
Maybe a child.
Perhaps a child.
I don't like that.
Well, what could possibly go wrong?
Children in the forest running around by themselves.
Maybe the dinner bell rang. It has been twilight for some time.
I don't know what children you've been around. It's not normal. Besides, if we're going to put any weight in what I saw in that mirror. Whatever children out here are likely not just children.
Understood. But why did you look at me and then say the word wait?
I was already looking at...
Some of us are sensitive.
I'm sorry.
Thank you for apologizing. So, what do we make of this? Shall we investigate? Perhaps establish a trade? Are there goods that we might need? These tracks are fresh. They might have something.
Well, the wizard is gone, and she took her cube of meat with her. We are down to pocket food, which is not much.
I've got some knickknacks, I think. I'm sure somebody could spare some bacon for a dragon tooth.
It's a good idea.
I was going to say, this sounds like a decision for a leader.
Sounds like a very good idea. Let's give them a follow and see what we find.
You proceed into off the road and towards the tracks.
Yeah, I'll lead the way, brandishing shield, clearing away brush through the woods with the scimitar.
You follow the footprints in the mud for not far before they lead to the clearing that you can kind of spy. At this point, the shadows are falling and the twilight is finally fading. And the path opens up to reveal a quaint log cabin with a ramshackle roof. Under the pink and dying purple hues of sky's long twilight, you can just make out the silhouette of the cabin. You can't see the details, but there's something, and maybe it's just a trick of the light, ghostly, picturesque about it.
Well, I think, tell me if I'm wrong here, but perhaps Averyn should do the talking.
How are you feeling, Averyn? Have you recovered from your encounter with the vines?
Much as one can. I don't know how much you would want me to talk with them.
Well, okay, I had a plan in place that if it were a family of some sort, they would see you, and look at how young and childish you seem, and take pity, and then you just invite the rest of your average-looking friends in. Listen, I'm new to this whole adventuring thing, but it sounded like a good idea at the time.
Right, young and just realize I'm not a child, right?
Compared to those that I see, you seem like but a babe. Your skin is not wrinkled, aside for the scar, but accidents happen.
Yes.
Catherine just shuts down to her facial expressions.
What, did I say something wrong?
Sir Knight, were you about to intervene? You looked as though...
No. This is not my speciality. But should we proceed forward, I would walk side by side with my mature and experienced companion, Lady Averin, and my wise and learning friend, Rookone, and of course behind our fair leader, Lady Sabria.
Quite the politician.
Only on the battlefield, my friend.
Let us hope that this is no battlefield. And
Everywhere is a battlefield.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. As I begin to walk toward the front door of the cottage.
You approach the cottage, and as you get closer, you see that a large pile of firewood has been stacked up against the cabin's side, but you see no signs of horses or carts or light within the cabin's dark windows.
Is there smoke from a chimney or a fire hole?
There's no chimney smoke. There is a chimney. And you will also notice, as you've been following the trail of these footprints, that the footprints suddenly stop here, and they seem to either double back or turn back. It gets confused, but they definitely do not proceed to the cabin. In fact, there's no tracks beyond them, and you can see from your vantage point, as you're fairly close now, that the cabin has a single broken door, which is, with the help of the wind, slamming rhythmically against its frame every few seconds with the force. You think there's something maybe written on the door, but it's too dark to quite make out unless you get much closer.
You notice that I reach up. I have this habit of absently playing with the sun-shaped pendant that I wear. You notice I reach up and take it into my fingers. I would like to cast Detect Good and Evil. Detect Evil, particularly here on the entrance to this cozy little cabin, in the doorway.
Whether or not it's a relief to Sabria, she feels nothing in particular, nothing special, no sign of an evil presence or good presence within. Just a quiet, just the breeze and the wind. Roll me an Arcana check.
I'm going to use advantage again.
All right.
13.
You cast the spell and you believe what you feel to be true. Something's not right. You can't quite place your finger on it. It's a thought, a feeling that's been in the back of your head now for the past day and a half. And you've never felt it more than this moment. And you don't know why.
I turn around and walk back toward the others.
Why are you walking this way? Should we be going towards the door?
Something is off here. Something is not right.
Like what? Can you tell us, share with us something?
I can't, Rakon, I can't. It's been growing all day for me. Do you notice how the tracks stop just short of the entry? What is this place?
Well, I suppose there's a couple of things that we could do here. We could knock, summon whatever is in there out here to speak with us, or burn it down and take everything that they have.
Is that really the only two options?
There's only one option there. Do you wish me to knock?
If you wish, Sir Knight, I will not require it of you. I do not trust this place.
Then I will abide by your feelings. You have proven yourself quite capable of attuning to phases and planes that I cannot see.
Then let us prepare accordingly for the worst. If we are to be ambushed, if this is to be a trap of some sort.
It is not an ambush if you go towards your enemy's lair. It's called a siege. Any action they take would be defensive, not aggressive. We are on their land.
Potato, potato. Well, if you are knocking from the front, I will have my eyes towards the forest. Averyn, Sabria, stand as you will. And then between the opposite end of the team, he will face towards the wood with his shield brandished and his scimitar ready, looking into the forest.
Perhaps we should state our intentions. Parley and trade.
He will pull absolution from the shoulder scabbard, and he will take the blade and slowly and deliberately drive the point into the earth until it rests, and he again leaves his hand on the pommel as it sits there.
To those that can hear, we mean you no harm. We wish merely to trade for goods and food, water, knowledge. We are not here.
Oh.
That was it. Just the same.
Everyone can roll me a perception check.
$21.
It's a natural one. Again.
All of you, except for Sir Reardon, hear nothing but the wind. Sir Reardon, you think you hear somebody talking for just a moment. And then you realize that it's just the echo of your own voice through the clearing.
It's me. My ears are going as well as my eyes. Oh, fantastic.
It's quiet.
Doesn't appear that there's anyone home.
Hey, knock harder. Maybe they're napping.
This could be viewed as aggression. I've stated my piece.
Then knock harder and apologize.
If they are not answering a call, they will not answer an assault.
Sir Reardon, you would notice that the door is broken. It's barely hanging on its hinges. There's a certain dilapidation when you're this close to the cabin.
This house has been sacked.
Then no one lives here. So then no one would mind.
Just because it has been sacked does not mean that no one lives here.
My thoughts exactly.
So then what are we doing here?
Averin's gonna start kind of walking the perimeter of this place, just keeping her an eye out for anything odd, knowing the information that she now knows.
Mm-hmm. Averyn, roll me a perception check. You cut back as Averyn kind of leaves the main group to walk the perimeter. What are the rest of you three doing?
Do you sneak off, or do you just deliberately like? Or is this is like a?
You guys are talking, so she's just doing her own thing.
Well, I'll let the dice decide whether or not I see you.
There she is. Maybe. Where is she going? She's so sneaky and quiet. Let us see what she finds. Perhaps we are inside one another's heads. A hangman's tree and attacking black roses will cast dread upon even the most benign of situations.
And he will pull absolution from the ground and hold it in a more ready stance.
Rugon, still brandishing shield and sword, glances at Sabria and Riordan. It's like, if it will not offend, would you mind if I looked through the windows? Is that a violation of your whatever?
Sabria only shakes her head.
I'll take that as a no. So I want Rukon walks over to the window toward, if there are windows that are intact, towards the front of the building and peer through them.
You see within Rukon, it's very, very dark, but you can tell that this place is nearly empty. There are a few structures within, maybe a table, maybe some kind of furniture. By the window, which is most visible in the hanging moonlight, you can see several broken shelves. You don't see any sign of movement, and from what little you can tell by peering in without actually going into the log cabin, it seems as though the place is abandoned.
He pulls his scimitar up close to the window, looks at it, raises an eyebrow, shrugs his shoulders, and goes, Shadak! And when nothing happens, he looks around to see who notices him try that, and backs away from the window and approaches Riordan. It's an abandoned shack. I did not see any movement. It's dark. I hope you didn't just notice anything I just did.
Of course not.
Fair leader, should we take shelter from the long night, or
I leave it in your capable hands.
Yes, I see no better option. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. Perhaps it is simply the dread that you name. She has a hard time meeting your eyes, but begins to walk toward the door.
Perhaps we should wait for our wise and experienced and in no way a child, Lady Averin. Her eyes seem to be better, as she is slightly younger than the rest of us.
Yes, of course. Of course.
That was a lot of adjectives, Knight.
I'm full of them.
Good to know.
As the three of you stand there in front of the cabin, Sabria, go ahead and roll me another Arcana check.
I'll use advantage again, since I seem to have been blessed with them. How about a 19?
You don't feel Syrian. You don't feel your god. It's in this moment not casting a spell, but just being here, quiet, present in the wind before this cabin in this clearing with these strangers that you feel entirely disconnected. and the hanging thought touches your mind. But if Syrian isn't with me right now, how have I been able to summon his power? Averyn, as they converse and stand before the front of this cabin, you are now behind it. And it's there bouncing what looks like a dancing will-o'-the-wisp, but it's actually, you realize very quickly, a lantern light approaches the back of the cabin, and you can see through the tree line, coming straight for you, a shape appearing. It's whistling a tune, and it's just a moment later that you see an old dwarf pulling a canopied cart along with the help of a gnarled walking stick. He raises one hand towards you, and even in the dark, you think you can see a smile flash. Hello there. I do not suppose I could trouble you to share some food or some warmth for the night. I've been walking for days. My paladine, my bones, how they ache. Do you have a You. How are you here?
I could ask the same.
As Sabria comes to the realization that there's a disconnect between her and her god, that there's something happening that she doesn't understand, and Averin, you find yourself standing face to face with the dwarf Albin Shortlock Hammerfist, a kindly merchant that you met once before, shortly before you were pulled out of Istar and through the shadows and through time to wherever you are now. As the night falls, so too does our story end for this night. This is where we will end our tale. Until next week. So yay! I know we'll post up a couple of times here in chat those polls that are going around. We'll get them running one more time, and I've got everything coming in here. But that's our episode for tonight. I'm really excited. Sorry, we had to cut a little bit short. We have a lot of stuff going on. It's PAX week, which is why Tia's not here, and Nori's missing, and conventions and whatnot. But man, tonight was great. Greg, I'm going to send it over to you.
Oh, we just had a donation come in that you'll want to take a look at, DM. Oh, you just made his day. I couldn't love this entire group, Dungeon Master, story, community, chat anymore. You guys are absolutely fantastic. You are here for us. You are contributing to this story. Think of the elements that chat has dictated and Dawn has run with. It is absolutely fantastic. Every time I draw Absolution, I know it was named by this community, and this is just the best. I said it last week, when I put on my chainmail, it's cold, and that's a great feeling. When I take it off, it's warm, and it's a terrible feeling because I know it'll be a week before I put cold chainmail on again. But until that next week, we can go around and talk to everybody else. And I am going to go to Billy. Billy, how are you doing, my friend? We got a little humor coming from the big bull tonight.
People have a lot of coping mechanisms. But this was awesome because this was a lively, I got to poke and prod to figure out a lot about a lot of your characters, which is going to be super fun for me going forward because I there's a lot of experience with Rugon, and there's a lot of wisdom, and he's encountered a lot of people, and he's learning who all of you are. And this is going to be such a fantastic journey. And I saw so many awesome things in chat about wolf asses today. So thanks for bringing that memory back. That was really unforgettable. And this is just the same because we're learning more about everybody. And it's gonna pay off. It's gonna pay off so much. It's gonna be so awesome. I'm so stoked to play with you guys. If you want to follow me, Twitter at Bill of the Forest, Instagram at Bill of the Forest. I'm just a dude who loves playing D&D with his friends, and I couldn't think of a better group of people or a better audience to do it for. You guys are so awesome. I look forward to this night. This is like the pinnacle of my week. Shh.
Fantastic, brother. Fantastic. And we will go over to our fearless leader, Allison, Sabria. What did you think about tonight, my friend?
It was so much fun to get to just play a little bit. I love the way that these relationships are developing. It's a blast to get to see it all unfold in the way that it is. And I love this chat. I love all of you. Thank you so much for the ways that you cheer us on and that you help us out. And thank you even for things like legendary enemies. I can't even imagine what that's going to be. And I'm super thrilled that I blew one of my highest level spell slots blowing up that tree. I'm sure we'll get a long rest in before then, though, right? It was dramatic. It was dramatic. I had that going for me. Love it so much. Cass, Dawn, you inspire me at every moment. Until next week, you can find me here on the channel on Sunday nights generally, although not this week. Pulp Cthulhu Project Athena is off this week. Catch up with our back episodes on YouTube. Check out the Padlet with our conspiracy board that is made by our Team Psychic and my real life, although not in game, girlfriend. That's Salty Ginger. And you can catch me on Twitter at Allison Robinson with 2 L's and a Y. That's it from me. Thanks again, guys. Cannot wait until next time.
Fantastic, my friend. And last, but certainly not least, starting us off in, dare I say, the greatest few moments that I have ever been privy to, either in cast, in the DM's chair, or simply watching a streamed RPG show, our very own songstress, Kiana, who brought me to tears with, if you haven't seen it or you got here late, check the VOD out immediately.
Incredible.
Kiana, how are you, my dear friend?
Oh, guys. No, I'm very glad that all went really well. It was a really fun opportunity to do. So as a storyteller, I love doing it. As Averyn, she hated it. And she's gonna have to deal with those emotions of other people knowing what she's done and not seeming to give a fuck. She's just like, I don't know how I feel about this, guys. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about being called a kid. I don't know how I feel about traveling with these people in general. No, I love this crew. I love this show. I love this game. I love the audience. Y'all are great. And I can't wait for next week. Can't wait. Can't come soon enough. But until then, you guys can find me over on Twitter at KenS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing, because I'm on the internet playing role-playing games almost every day of the week. But you will find me at PAX this weekend. I will be there all 3 days, just hanging out. If you see me, say hello. I'm also running a couple games for Magpie Games as an official volunteer GM. So if you want some zombie apocalypse fun, definitely come check me out over there. The information will be on Twitter. And yeah, I hope to see some of you there. And if not, we'll be back here in the Darklands, trying to survive just another goddamn day.
Fantastic, fantastic. And as the horn has been wrapped around and as we come into the home stretch, who better to take us all the way home than the man that built this home for us? Don, how are you doing, my friend? And what have you got for us?
So I'm doing great. I love this episode. And I feel like, we learned a lot about the characters, even more maybe than last week. We learned a lot about how they interact with each other. And I think that's super important for us to kind of get out of the way now. And I do have to say, there's a lot of folks who watch us, can't be here live, but watch us on YouTube or watch the VODs on Twitch. And if you're listening now, thank you for watching us. If you can ever make the live show, it's awesome. The chat energy is fantastic. I can't even keep up with it, but I always love going back and watching it the day after because you guys are just so nice and so supportive of the story that we're trying to tell. So if you are YouTube folks, thank you very much for watching us. Please let us know what you thought of the episode, what you think of the stories. I love these characters so much. When we started tonight, I had a feeling that we were in for something special. I didn't know last week how many of you are going to fail your saving throws. It could have been all of you that had to tell a story or sing a song today, but it was just Averyn. And Kiana, I thought what you did was really, really special. I loved it. And I loved the interactions that came afterwards. And I'm very, very excited for our stories going next. We have a lot of different options ahead of us because I'm trying to create a world and within the world that already exists of Dragonlance that we can play in for a long time, because I love playing with you guys and I want to keep playing with you guys. So with all of that love out of the way, I do have some bad news, which is that we have to make some charisma corruption saving throws now. All of you.
I believe mine is with advantage.
You do, yes. I think Mr. Pokey threw in donation to give Sir Reardon advantage on his saving throw this time.
15.
That'll be enough.
A strong 14.
And an 8.
An
and a
8!
3. So, some good news and some bad news for everyone involved with this thing that we call corruption, which is a core mechanic where the longer we spend in wherever we are, the more that the magic of the world, the inherent wrongness of our characters being a part of this world begins to weigh down on them. Their own actions begin to weigh down on them because of hitting our goals for this week, and because of some folks from YouTube and late donations coming in last week, giving donations. We actually had a couple of extra polls. I did a couple of extra polls this week because I wanted us to have those extra bonuses and extra penalties. So we have tonight Rook Own. Because of ties, where if there's a tie, I will give the benefit or penalty to both parties. Rook Own, you received 2 wins for The Light Still Shines. And even with your charisma saving throw of 3, one of those will cancel out and you will not lose your corruption today. You don't have to gain any corruption. How much corruption is Rook Own at right now? 8? Is that right?
I thought he dropped back to 6. Didn't he get a save and
6? In either case, he's at 0 now because of The Light Still Shines. That's a poll from the viewers who have chosen to protect your corruption. Sir Reardon, you also gained another Light Still Shines. That puts you at 2 now total. Averin.
3.
Is it 3?
It is 3. I didn't want to correct you, fair dungeon master.
No. I believe you. Averyn, even though you failed your roll, you also gained because of a tie. The light still shines, and Averyn is protected from corruption. However, Sabria, tonight, chat chose for both of the eyes of Nutari.
I know. Oh.
And because of that, I now need you to roll me 2d8, and you will gain 2d8 corruption immediately.
2d8, my god. Well, thank goodness I am currently at 0. Sirion, Lord of Light, Father, the flames protect me. Okay.
So maybe Sirion's left you, maybe he hasn't left you. For now, the understanding that there's some sort of disconnect between you and your god, that there's something not right going on with you and your power in this strange land, Sabria will gain 4 corruption.
Seems
worse.
Fitting.
And that is everything I have tonight. We have had now 2 donations, one coming from between episodes, and one tonight for Mr. Pokey for legendary monsters. Those were our first. Guys, I'm going to blow it out of the water. You'll see both of those before the end of the season. So hold on to your pants. It's going to be sweet. I love y'all.
Okay, so I'm looking forward to that. Sir Reardon is also looking forward to that, but he's a foolhardy knight. As I said, my name is Grimjack21502 on the Twitches and the Twitters. Here you are on the channel. Please stick around, follow if you would. Check us out on YouTube to see our past adventures. They are grand indeed, whether they be in 1915, 1933, or here in a dark version of Kryn, or in the future on some other fabled lands, as we have new shows starting in just a few weeks and in the new year. So please stick around. This community is fantastic. It is as inclusive and as passionate as I have ever seen. We promote and encourage that type of attitude, and it's brought to us. We are enveloped within it. So before we say goodnight, I will always say this. For one last time, I will shoot Dawn, I will shoot Allison, Billy, and Kiana, and Tia into the chat. Please, if you haven't followed them already, do so. Add kindness, add light, add some bold to your life, because I'm going to tell you what, you're going to need it, and every little bit counts. But until next week, everyone, stay who you are. Lovely, passionate people. We'll see you.